Well, okay, welcome to Math 1332/0232. This is a co-requisite, Math for Liberal Arts with co-requisite. So it means you're taking two math classes at once. Our section number is 4CW1 and it's the same for both classes. This is a purely online class. Students work from home Monday through Thursday on assignments and things that are due, and as long as you meet deadlines of when tests are held, then you can pretty much work at your own pace. I will be making videos of each lesson, so you can watch videos to see how to do all the problems as well. Okay, so this is the syllabus for the course, and then most of the stuff you see in black was typed up by the school, and the stuff in red or other colors is what us teachers put in here. So things like the course description, learning outcomes, these kind of things. I'm not going to read through all of them because you can read them on your own time. And some of this won't make sense to you till you learn stuff in the course as well. The 1332 class is a 3-credit class, and then the 0232 class is a 2-credit class. So you'll get 5 total credits for this double class. There's a list of sections that we cover in the textbook and in the homework. And there's a video for each homework assignment. So there's 32 total sections that we cover, and we do eight per unit that tests are over. So there's 4 regular tests. Each one has 8 sections in it. And each video I made has 2 sections at a time. So there's actually 16 videos to cover the 32 sections. You don't have to get an actual textbook unless you want to. Many students in math these days don't get real textbooks anymore. We use an online program called MyMathLab for all our homework and actually all our work in the course. There are no quizzes, but we do tests, reviews, and homework inside of MyMathLab. The entire grade for 1332 anyway is based in MyMathLab. So purchasing MyMathLab is the one required thing, but the good news is you don't have to buy a book then. MyMathLab Access typically costs between $75 and $100 depending on the course. And the good news is there's not a separate cost for the 0232 class. So any co-requisite class that has 2 classes, the college level is 1332, and then the developmental math level 03, 02, whatever it is, that's never has an extra cost to it at least. If you do want to get the real textbook, it's called Thinking Mathematically, 8th edition, and the author's name is Blitzer. But there's a free electronic textbook inside of MyMathLab, so since you have to get MyMathLab anyway, then most people are fine just using the electronic textbook. There is an option to get the first 2 weeks of MyMathLab for free too, so you can at least start today and pay later if you don't have the money right now. And even if you do the 2-week free trial option, you can still get the ebook during that period of time. So a hard copy of the textbook is optional. You can pretty much use any calculator you want in this class. It can be a real simple one, it can be a real fancy one, or anything in between. The school recommends a scientific calculator that can at least do combinations and permutations, but really you can get by with doing those 2 things without a scientific calculator. So if you already have a calculator, then you're definitely good to go. If you're going to get one for this class, you don't need to spend a whole lot of money, just get the cheapest thing you can find. There's even, since you guys are taking this class online, you can even use a calculator on the computer like this. You'll see me during the videos using this calculator right here. So I just went to the start button of my computer, and then in the options there was one for a calculator. Most computers have a calculator built in. And this one's nice because I can click this three lines right here, and this one's it's set to scientific right now, but I could set it to standard or even graphing. So scientific's the best for this class, but really where the calculator is needed is we do a financial chapter where we're figuring out all these, that's where the heavy calculations come into play. So then if you have a scientific calculator, that definitely helps over like just a plain calculator that just adds, subtracts, multiplies, and divides. We don't really do any graphing in this class, so if you have a graphing calculator, that's fine, but it's not like it's going to give you an advantage over people who don't. Okay, we're going to register for MyMathLab, so just go to mymathlab.com. You can just literally type in the browser mymathlab.com, and it takes you to this website here. The first time you have to come over here where it says sign in. Once you register the first time, then every other time you come here, you'll just sign in whatever username and password you create. First time you have to register now as a student. And you need some kind of email address. You can use your school email for sure. If you would rather use a personal email, this only reason for this is if you forget your password, they're going to send it to you. So the school email is fine, or a personal one, whatever you think you would remember if you get locked out of your account somehow. The messages I send for the course are all done through D2L, so it'll go to your school email automatically, any message you get from me. I used to send messages through MyMathLab, but now that we use these D2Ls and other schools use similar ones, then it became unnecessary to even do that. But back when I did use this, I told students, I don't care if you use your personal email or the school email. Some people never check their school email, or they didn't in the past. So it was just whatever you found most convenient is all that I cared about. There's a course ID that's in the syllabus. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you have to make 3 decisions. If you buy a brand new textbook, like at the bookstore or Amazon or places like that, anybody who gets a brand new textbook, like some people get financial aid, and then they tell me, well, the financial aid's paying for it, why don't I get it if it doesn't cost me anything? So you could get a real textbook if you want to, and inside the brand new textbook, they have a free access code for this program. Because really what happened is textbooks cost well over $200 these days. So part of this $75 to $100 is built into that cost already. And then it seems like you're getting it at no additional charge, but really it's already in the cost of the textbook. So if you don't want to spend over $200 for a textbook, that's good news. And then you can use credit card or PayPal, or you can do the free 2 weeks option and pay with a credit card or PayPal later. You can also buy, instead of buying a textbook, you could go to our bookstore, even online somewhere, and buy just access to this MyMathLab. The only downside to that is whoever the buyer you're getting it from is, they're going to want a piece of the action. They're going to want to get a profit. So you'll pay more that way. The cheapest way is to just come right here, either while you're registering or up to 2 weeks from now, and use a credit card or PayPal. And you won't get a cheaper price anywhere else, actually. So click OK, register now. And then here's where you put the course ID in. So go back to the syllabus. It's right here in the syllabus. Course ID equals, it always has the professor's name first. So my name is pronounced Prather, Prather, but there's a long A. So it's pronounced as if it's spelled Pray, like you pray in church, even though there's no Y in the spelling. So you put the professor name in, Prather. And then it has a 5-digit number always, 45504. And then you hit continue to register. Now for me, it's recognizing me as a former user. You would just create a new account. And if I just click that real quick, put in some kind of email address, confirm it, pick whatever username you want and password, first name, last name, what country you in, select your role, are you a teacher or are you a student, and then create your account. For first and last name, I don't care if you have a nickname, like I'm Richard Prather, but I go by Rick Prather. So if somebody puts Rick Prather, then I'll know that's the same person as Richard Prather. So I had a foreign student one time, and his name was Igor Kravchuk. And he wanted to Americanize his name, so he started calling himself Gary Kravchuk. Just picked an American name that's common when people come here from other places. And that these things don't bother me at all. I just need to know. So if they have a last name of Kravchuk, probably that's going to tell it to me. But sometimes they'll put a different first and last name that's what's on the roster. or maybe it's the last name that's different. So like, for example, say you're Hillary Clinton and you used to be Hillary Clinton, and that's what it says on my roster. But since you registered for the class, you got married, and now you're Hillary Trump. So this person wants to put Hillary Trump in here because that's her name now. And see, this kind of thing doesn't bother me at all. It's just I don't know. So I'll get on the roster, it's at the school, it says there's a Hillary Clinton in my class, but on the MyMathLab roster where I'm trying to get the grades from, it says there's a Hillary Trump, and I'm wondering, is that the same person? It's a totally different last name. And if that happens, just tell me. As long as usually they'll email me and say, oh, my one name says Clinton, but now I'm Trump. And so as long as I know, then it's no problem at all. Just sometimes I don't know, and then I put all these zeros in for their first set of grades, and then they freak out and email me like, I did all those assignments. Why'd you give me all zeros? And oh, okay, see, you didn't tell me that there was a name change of some kind. So yeah, as long as I know, it's not a big deal. So you just fill all this information in. When you create your account on the very next page, that's where it's going to ask you what option do you want to do. 3 options. If you got a new textbook, don't pay anything now. You have free access with that code inside the textbook. There's like a cardboard thing inside the textbook, and you just open it up, and inside there's a long code that you put in. Most people don't do that option though. So then your other option is to just pay right today with a PayPal or credit card. Or the third option is you can do the 2 weeks for free. And then once the 2 weeks runs out, then you pay at that point. So yes, unfortunately, it's an extra cost. People paid for tuition and they didn't know they were going to have to pay for other things. But normally you used to have to pay for books too, and then maybe buy a calculator. At least here you can just get a calculator off the computer or something. So it's a much better deal than it used to be. Students used to have to buy books in every single class. And then you might have, in certain math classes, you might have to get a real fancy calculator too. So at least this is less than half the cost of what it used to be, and you can just use some plain calculator. It's fine. You don't have to go spending money on a calculator. So then every other time you come, you're going to log in with whatever username and password you created. See, here's these options. Use an access code if you bought a brand new textbook. Here it's $120. They actually have 2 options. You can spend $129 and get this for up to 2 years. Or you can bet on yourself and just get it for this semester, and it's much cheaper. It's only $80. So if you think you're going to pass the class, definitely choose the second option. If you took this class and failed, and maybe you're doing it a second time and you're worried, oh no, I'm going to have to pay again every time I fail the class, that's why they have this option here. If you pay $129, then you can take the class over and over and over again without having to pay every single time. But most students are planning on passing the class, but there are some people that fail. So it just depends on your situation. Nobody can know which of these 2 is better for you. Most students just go for the cheaper option. The downside is if you fail and have to take the class again, then you got to pay $80 again next semester. So then you've paid $160 instead of $130. But nobody's knowing ahead of time if they're going to fail or not, so it's kind of hard to decide, should I bet on myself or should I have, this is kind of like insurance in case you fail, is why they do this. Plus that gets them more money for the people that choose this higher option. And then just see, make sure it says Prather 44504, taught by Rick Prather. Yeah, this is it, 1332 fall 2023. That way you didn't accidentally put the wrong course code in. Course ID. So then after that initial time of registering, every other time you're just going to come to mymathlab.com, same name as the program, and just sign in right here. Okay, so here I am, and I have this in various classes. Like I have a pre-calc class right now that's using this, and I actually taught this. I taught 1332 in the summer, but it was just 1332. It wasn't also a co-requisite. But the 1332 portion of our class is taught exactly like a class that's just taking 1332, just a college-ready class. So the 0232 portion of your class or your grade, you don't have to do a separate class actually. Everything you do in this class is going to help you in the other class too. And these videos that I created, I do those anyway just because some students find them helpful. Many students can't just teach themselves how to do math. And even though these programs help in that a little bit, many students find the videos very helpful. So in the 0232 class, part of your grade is watching the videos, where in 1332, somebody could get by without doing it. So click this right here, this 1332 Fall 2023. This may be the only box you have. I have multiple boxes because I teach this and use this in many classes. So then what happens is there's a bunch of tabs here on the left, and we don't use all of these, but there's a course home page that just kind of gives you like warnings about when things are due. The tab you need the most is over here, the third one that says assignments, or maybe it's the second one for you. I might have more options than you guys have as a teacher. All the assignments for the entire semester are here already, because I taught this in the summer, so I just copied it over from there and set the new due dates. Due dates for assignments are when you take tests. So notice the first 8 assignments, 1.1 through 2.5, they're all due October 10th, 11:59 p.m. That's when your first test is due. And then we do a second unit with all of Chapter 3 plus one little section of Chapter 8. That's due October 26th. So you can't forget when things are due. The due date's literally right next to it. Then we finish the rest of Chapter 8. That's the financial chapter where it really helps to have some kind of like scientific calculator at least. Those are due November 14th. And then we also do 2 sections of Chapter 11 at that time. I like to have every test equal in size, so I just do 8. Since there were 32 sections to cover, I just divide that by 4 and then try to do that many sections per test. So our final unit has 4 sections from Chapter 11 and 4 from Chapter 12. That's due December 5th, which is when the 4th test takes place. So those are the 32 homework assignments. And there's 4 tests. And then the last week of the semester, we're going to be reviewing everything because you may have forgotten these early things. So I have a review for each of the 4. It says weeks because that's how it was in the summer, but review week 1, the summer was a 5-week class, so they had 4 weeks to do everything, and then they had a 5th week for the final exam week. So don't let this word week bother you, but review, I should have maybe changed the title of this to review unit 1 and review unit 2 and so on. So the reviews, I'm going to use them, and I do have videos for each of these 4 reviews, but I'm going to release them in December right before the final. You can optionally do these reviews to get ready for each test if you want to, because all of these things can be done more than once until they're due. And you'll see that in the videos how I can do another problem. The one good thing about these online homeworks is you can do problems more than once, even if you get them right, or especially if you get them wrong, you can do them again until your grade gets higher. But just because you get a homework problem right doesn't mean you're going to ace it on the test. Sometimes it takes more practice than one time. So somebody could go in after they do the first 8 homework assignments. If they're like, okay, I'm going to take the test, you get a 2-day window to take the test. So maybe the first day you want to review or study. Well, some students, they wait to the last minute to do all their homework, which I don't suggest. So they're trying to finish homework right before they take a test, which is definitely a bad idea. Others already have the homework done. They're keeping pace what I have on a calendar, and then they have free time to study and review. Then you could go in and do this first review. The students in the summer that did the review before the test got much higher grades than people who didn't. So you don't have to do the reviews while we're working each of these units, but you could, and then you can do it again in December when I release the video for it. You can just practice these yourself. There's nothing in the reviews that aren't in the homework. So the videos for the reviews are not going to come out till December because I need those to help review stuff that's really, really old. You'll have videos for these first 8 homework assignments. And then if you just do the review, all that should be fresh on your mind anyway. You're about to take a test on it. And if you got stuck on anything, you could go back to one of the videos that taught that section. So my point is the reviews can be done right before you take each test if you want to. And then you can do them again in December when the time gets closer for the final exam. The exams will pop in here. You don't see them yet. They don't appear until their 2-day window starts where you can take them. So on October 10th, that's when these first homeworks are due. So that means the test will be open October 9th and October 10th. You get a 2-day window to take each test, but there's only one attempt per test, so don't do it until you feel like you're ready for it. And you should definitely do all 8 homework assignments, and ideally, at least, you don't have to do the whole review until it's 100, but do some of the review at least. Click through the review and say, okay, that's easy, that's easy. Oh, here's one that I had trouble with, do that one. And then that's the way to get ready for the test. And it's probably a good idea to use October 9th to review and then take the test on October 10th. That's what most students do. But the test opens on October 9th. If you want to take it bang first thing in the morning and then just get it out of the way, you can do that. So that's the advantage of this online class, is you have the flexibility to pick when you're doing stuff. You don't have to show up for a class meeting and maybe you're busy or have a job or something or another class something to do. You can pick and choose your time of what you're working on. That's the nice thing. But the downside is many students put things off to the last minute. They wait till real close to the test to even start doing homework. That's a very bad idea. I get a lot of A's, B's, and F's on tests. The people that are keeping up with the calendar I'm going to show you and watching my videos when I release them each time, they typically get A's and B's on tests. And the ones who are waiting till the last minute, they don't finish everything and they don't even look at the review, they typically get very bad grades. And then sometimes they wonder why, but it's just they didn't put enough time into it. Okay, so let me go back to the syllabus. So now you know how to register for MyMathLab. And also, I get this every time, and no matter how many times I harp on it, there's a student or two who just refuses. Use the 2-week free trial period. There's no reason to wait. The first test will come up and I'll have somebody like, oh, I just started doing my homework and I'm running out of time. Can you give me more time? No, the deadlines are set in stone. It's not fair that I let somebody work more time than other people are getting. So there's no reason you should have done that. You should have registered for this the first day and used the 2-week free trial period. And I get 2 weeks will go by and there's a few people that are not even in MyMathLab yet. And then I'll email them and say, why aren't you working in the assignments already? And they're like, oh, I haven't got paid yet. I got to wait till I get paid. No, you don't. You got a 2-week free trial period. Why would you waste 2 weeks and get way behind? And now you're going to probably fail the first test. And like, oh no, I'm going to study really hard. I'll do really well. And then they fail the test. And then often they have to drop the class. So I warn them all the time, and I still get that every semester for some reason. So here's your warning. Don't get behind. Start working on this, if not the first day, real soon after the first day. Anybody who's not working this the first week is definitely in deep trouble for doing well on tests. Okay, now I am what's called an adjunct professor at Lone Star College. I'm actually a full-time professor at HCC, Houston Community College. And I used to be part-time at both of them, and then HCC gave me a full-time job first. But ever since I got a full-time job at HCC, I still teach a class or two, or sometimes they let us teach up to 3. So I teach somewhere between 1 and 3 online classes at Lone Star since I'm teaching full-time at HCC. So I don't have an office location at Lone Star College, but you can certainly make appointments to meet with me at some point. We can meet in person at the campus someday. That's a mutual day and time that's convenient for both of us. I usually just meet at the library or something. Or we could certainly do virtual office hours, or we can just do it over the phone. So if you need any help, a lot of people just get help by email. They'll just email me a question, and that's perfectly fine. Also, when you're doing assignments, there's a way, and you'll see this in the video, where you can click this help me solve this or view an example. There's help inside of the homework too, in addition to the videos I'm going to make. And then there's an option in the help that says ask my instructor. So that's a very good tool to use. Click that, and then if you click that, it'll send me an email, and it'll have a link in it where I can open up the exact problem you're working on. Because some people will email me and they'll say, I'm stuck on problem number 5 of this section, and that's fine, except that there's like 10 versions of every problem. So I don't know exactly what question you have and exactly what your answer would be if you just say that in an email. So click the Ask My Instructor button, and I get exactly the problem you're working on, and I can see exactly what you have, and maybe what sometimes a student already has part of it done and they're just stuck at some point in the middle. Then it makes it real easy for me to reply back and help get you unstuck. You can also contact the math department. So there's a division dean and a department chair. These are very helpful people. And if you have any issues in this class or any class, definitely contact the school. The math department phone number is here. That's more commonly used when students have in-person classes and they're worried about things like, did the class get canceled one day, or is there any kind of weather issues, things like that. But online classes usually don't need to contact them just because they're doing everything from home. But it's all here in the syllabus if you need it. They have a lot of extra services you might not even know, like veteran services. So these are things they don't have to do, but they do. So this is very good. When you go to a community college, you have all this extra help. And it doesn't apply to everybody. Not everybody's a veteran, but for those that are, there's really nice help that they have. Or they have testing centers. That probably won't apply to us, but they also have free math tutoring. So you can go to any campus and get free math tutoring. There's technical support here for My Math Lab. If you do have technical issues, I'm not a tech expert myself. People will tell me, oh, My Math Lab, I got some issue, it won't let me do something. And I first of all, I don't even work for My Math Lab. They're just a company we have a contract with. And I don't know much about tech issues. So if you have any tech issues, call them, or there's even chat with an agent that they often answer faster inside the program itself. So definitely use those. Most students that use them say they're very helpful. Occasionally you might have a bad experience, but that happens with any of these tech support things. If you are not registered in My Math Lab by 10/4, then they drop you from the course. So that's why I keep harping on it. Don't put it off. There's a 2-week free trial period. If you're not working by October 4th, you're already 2 weeks behind. You're unlikely going to do well in the first test, and that's setting you up for failure, so that you're going to be struggling the whole semester long. This part about attendance, we don't have attendance in an online class, so they just put this in here. Most classes meet in person, but there's a few online classes. But make sure you're in My Math Lab hopefully this first week and not October 4th. That's, if you're not in there till October 4th, that's really bad. So after October 4th, if you want to drop the class, you can drop yourself. I typically don't drop people unless they're just not active early in the semester. So if you have a bad grade and you don't want to get an A, B, C, D, or F at the end of the semester, then you have to drop yourself from the course. Just either go in person to the registrar's office or go online to the lonestar.edu website. There's a form you fill out. And then they'll drop you and you'll get a W instead of a B, C, D, or F. Now, there's legitimate reasons to withdraw from a class. Some people are in a class that's just elective and they don't need it, and they want more time for other classes that are more important. Sometimes people have a change in their life, like they got a new job and now it conflicts with their school schedule. Many students drop when they think they're going to get a bad grade and they think it'll affect their GPA if they stay in the class. And at first it would, but if you're in a class you have to have and you're going to drop it and retake it another semester, then in my opinion, sometimes dropping is not needed, because you can actually fail a class, retake it and get an A, and then only the A is used in your GPA. So you can fail a class and still have a 4.0 GPA if you retake it and get an A the second time. And even if you are going to retake the class, the more you learn now, the easier it'll be the second time around. So you can definitely wait till closer to the withdrawal deadline, which is further in this syllabus. There's a withdrawal deadline to withdraw by, and if some people get a bad first grade on the test and they drop right away. I definitely don't suggest that unless it's some kind of like time issue. But stick around, maybe you'll do better in the second test and not need to drop. I've had people fail the first test and still pass the class. There was even one time a student failed the first test and still got an A in a class one time. That's really hard to do, but it's mathematically possible. So if you want to drop the class, that's up to you. But I do get students, I think, give up a little too easily and they drop too soon, or probably didn't need to drop, but they do anyway. I get some people, they're like, if I don't get an A, I won't accept anything less than an A. So the first time they don't get an A on something, they just drop the class. And in my opinion, that's way too soon to do that. Like I said, you could fail the first test and still get an A. So one bad grade is not going to determine your whole semester average. Okay, the 1332 class, 50% of your grade are the 4 tests we take. So that makes each one worth 12.5%. all the homework you do, all 32 of those homeworks are worth 25% of your grade. The final exam's worth 25%. That's the 1332 grade. That's all done in MyMathLab. And it's the typical 90s are A's, 80s are B's, 70s are C's, 60s are D's, and below that's an F. The 0232 class, you get 25% of your grade by watching these videos I'm going to make. So that's kind of like attendance. That counts as your attendance. So in each video, at some point, I send out a magic word of the video, or of what used to be of the day in the summer class, but the magic word of the day. And as soon as, and it's in a random spot of the video, so somebody can't just watch a little of the video, get it, and then stop watching the video. So if you really want to get a grade for this, then you'll have to watch the video, or at least most of it. And then once you hear the word in there, just send me an email. And you can just put magic word of the day in the title and then just put the word. And that's worth 25% of your grade. So there are 4 videos per unit. So 4 magic words per unit. And if a student sends all 4 of them to me, they get 100. If they send 3 of the 4, they get a 75. Or 2 out of 4 would be a 50. Or 1 out of 4 is a 25. Or if they don't send any, they get a 0. All the homework you do in 1332 also counts for 50% of your grade in 0232. And then those 4 reviews, they count as 25% of the 0232 grade. And in O classes that start with a 0, those are developmental math classes, they don't accept D grades. So you can get an A, B, C, or fail. Now, if this is the first time you've ever taken a class like this, and you get what would normally be a D in the 60s. If it's the first time you've done that, then if all your assignments and you've been watching videos and you've taken the tests in the final and you just came up a little short, they give you what's called an IP. That just means you still failed, but it's a nice way of saying that you're working hard at it. It looks better, I guess, on a report card than an F does. But if you're below 60, or if you're in the 60s and you haven't done all your work mostly, then you just get an F at that point. And if you can't just drop 0323 and say, I want to keep working in 1332, that doesn't work. If you drop one of them, it'll drop you in both of them. And if you pass the 1332 class, then you, in essence, pass them both. If you pass the 0232 only and fail 1332, then you are what they consider college ready. And then you would be like the students that are just taking 1332. They used to have these developmental math classes done separately by students. Students would go through a series of developmental math. It was kind of like they were relearning high school math all over again. And it was students who either did really poorly in high school, or maybe they had been out of school for a long time and now they're coming back again and just forgotten a lot of stuff. And so, but the issue is we're a 2-year college, and students would spend 3 semesters, or if they failed any of them, even more than that, relearning all this stuff. And then they would normally be out of a 2-year college, but they haven't even got to college level math yet. So the state of Texas passed this law about these co-requisite classes, so just to try to get you through faster. And really, it's not that they care about students so much as they care about the money. They have to pay money for each student that's in a college that semester. So if you take 2 math classes at once, they only have to pay once for you instead of paying twice what they used to do in the past. They just care about the money side of it. But it can help students. A lot of students are helped by this. Imagine if you've never swam before, and you can either go in the shallow end and spend weeks and weeks learning how to hold your breath first before you even get to the swimming part, or you grab onto Michael Phelps and jump in the pool with him, and you get to hold on to him the whole time, and now you got the best expert in the world at swimming teaching you how to swim. That's what this deal is like. You're the non-swimmer who's swimming right away in the deep end because you have a very good helper helping you. Okay, so there's an online tutoring service too, but you can also just show up to any Lone Star campus, go to the information desk and ask them about the tutoring, and they'll tell you where it's located. I'm based at the Montgomery campus, even though I don't go there in person, but that's the campus that I work with the math department with. And I know they have extensive tutoring there. It's really good. It's 7 days a week, mornings, afternoons, evenings, weekends, every math subject. They have math experts whose whole job is just to tutor. So you could definitely go to the Montgomery campus, and I know you'll get very good free tutoring there. But if you say you're literally a distance student and you're taking this class from Memphis, then obviously you can't show up at a Lone Star campus. So they do have online tutoring too. Okay, here is the date to drop. If you don't drop by November 17th, like a week before Thanksgiving, then you're stuck in the class. There's nothing I can do. I get students after that date, they'll email me begging me to drop them from the class, but the school literally won't let me. So if you're on the roster after November 17th, then you'll get an A, B, C, D, or F. If you drop before that date, then it's like you were never in the class, although then you spent the money on the class anyway. So that's another reason not to drop too soon. So again, here's a bunch of stuff the school put in here: degree plans, Lone Star policies. There's academic integrity, student code of conduct, course evaluation. You can appeal things if you think a teacher mistreated you in any way. You can appeal your grade. Title IX, this is very important. This is for gender equality. You guys are online, but if you were in person, college safety is important. They have police patrolling all the time nowadays, especially with all the shootings around the country. But the Texas's answer to that was, let's let students bring guns to class. And if a bad guy starts shooting, then the students can start shooting back, and it can be the OK corral. So you can even bring a gun to school if you want to. There's a policy about that. That was because the state of Texas made that a law. There's library services, disability services, advising and counseling. You could have issues that have nothing to do with school, and they have free advising and counseling. Now, one issue that is definitely very common is students get test anxiety. And they say, oh, I could do it so well in the homework, but as soon as it became a test, I froze up and forgot everything. Well, go to these advisors and counselors. I had a student last summer. He failed the first test, and he emailed me. He said, I'm a very good student normally. I just get very bad test anxiety. And he says, is there anything I can do? And I said, yeah, contact these counselors. He went in and had a 1-hour meeting with a counselor, and it's not, well, I don't know what they do. That maybe they should teach us teachers what they're doing, but these people are trained at this kind of thing. And this kid got A's on every test after that. Whatever they did, it was almost like a miraculous cure or something. He went from test anxiety and failing to suddenly getting A's and B's on every test after that. So I definitely recommend that if you have any test anxiety, or even some people just have issues outside of their life that have nothing to do with school. This school doesn't have to do it, but they have people whose job is to help students for that kind of thing. If you go to a 4-year college, you're just another number to them. And if you fail, they'll kick you out and replace you with somebody else because they have such a long waiting list to get in there. Online students used to take their tests in the testing centers before the pandemic, but since the pandemic ended, I guess they're trying to save money, and they decided not to do that anymore. So you just do all your tests in My Math Lab. They have 2-day windows, and when the time gets closer, I'll remind you. But you just take a test in My Math Lab. So they put this in the syllabus still, but we don't use these at all. These are more for in-person classes. If somebody has like an emergency and say they're in the hospital and they miss a test, then they could make up a test in the testing center. Veteran services, I guess, is in the syllabus twice. And then here's more student services. Another thing, too, is not only do I provide videos for all you guys to help you on your homework, I send out an email Monday through Thursday. So I'm treating this class like it's a Monday through Thursday type of class. And you're going to see a calendar here in a second that suggests what you should be doing each Monday through Thursday. You're officially not required to do anything Friday through Sunday, but many students are busy during the week and then they try to catch up on the weekends. So you're free to do that if you want, but I'm going to treat this like it's a Monday through Thursday class. And it's Monday through Thursday because we're starting late. Many classes started 4 weeks ago, so we have a little bit more time crunch just because we missed the first 4 weeks. So I'll send an email out, just real brief, short email. Here's what you should be doing today, or here's any deadlines that are coming up. So you can look for that each day, and then you can just reply to my emails with the magic words of the day if you want, or you can just send me your own email if you want. But there are no drop tests, there's no makeup work, there's no due date extensions, there's no extra credit. I used to do these things, but it just encourages more procrastination, and then the grades were worse. Ever since I've been strict on this, not only did grades improve, but it's just more fair to students. It's not fair to say, here's a test, and then people stay up all night cramming for it, and then somebody misses it, and they're like, oh, I was just a little busy at work, can I do it later? Well, now all the other students are going to be angry that I made them cram for a test and I gave one person extra days to do the test. Or if you fail a test and I give you extra credit, then you're not learning the subject is the problem. So math is a subject where past skills build into the new skills. So even though if you finish the first test, you're not going to see those exact same questions on the next test. If you don't understand those things, it's going to make the next test harder. Plus, the final exam is cumulative, so if you do poorly in one unit, then you're going to be hurt on the final exam too. So just keep this in mind. The students that keep up with the calendar and do their work on a regular basis typically get good grades in this class, and the ones who don't are the ones that typically get lower grades. It's not foolproof, but that's typically the long run what happens. Okay, so that's the syllabus. And then the calendar. So we are a 12-week class. Most college classes are 16 weeks in the fall and in the spring. So we're called late start. We're starting 4 weeks late. So that way, what happened was it actually worked out perfect. I counted the number of days in the semester. And with 2-day windows for tests, there was literally 1 day a week, Monday through Thursday, we could do one section and cover them all. So this first week, you should be doing 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 2.1. I'm going to send out one video that covers 1.1 and 1.2. And then I'll send out another video that covers 1.3 and 2.1. And then same thing the second week, we do 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. So this is that what they call the official day on October 4th. If you're not actively working in the class by then, they're just going to drop you from the class. And there's no reason you shouldn't be active by then, because you can get the first 2 weeks for free. So the homeworks are not due until October 10th. Somebody could just blow off the whole first 2 weeks and just say, oh, I'll just wait till October 10th and do all this work. And they always do poorly when they make that decision. So don't do that. Keep up on a daily basis. These are not fully due until October 10th. So if you don't get 100 on each one of them these days, that's fine. But you should be doing something each day. If you're not doing a little bit each day, then you're probably going to get a bad test grade. And somebody might be, okay, I'll use Friday, Saturday, Sunday and try to catch up on these 4 things. Okay, if you do that, that's fine. So, but try to keep up a little bit each day, and then it's not so overwhelming at the end. And if you really stick to this calendar closely, this is a suggested calendar. You don't have to stick to it to the letter every single day, but if you keep up with this, then you've got this whole weekend and or the Monday to get ready for this first test. And then you could study and review on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, your choice. You could just do it all on Monday if you don't want to do anything on the weekends. And then you would be free and clear to take the test on Tuesday and not have any pressure of trying to finish homework or anything. So then we repeat that pattern for the next 8 sections, which takes 8 work days to do that. And then you've got this Wednesday and Thursday, October 25th and 26th for test 2. So if you keep up on the Monday through Thursday daily schedule, then on Tuesday, the 24th, you'll be done with homework, and then you could use the 25th to review and study, and then take the test on the 26th. That's the best plan if you want to get the highest grades possible. Then we have 2 weeks for the rest of chapter 8 and a little bit of 11. So then the tests fall on Monday and Tuesday again. There's November 14th. That's the 3rd test. And the withdrawal date is November 17th, so that's good. You'll have 3 tests in before you have to decide to drop or not. That's why if you get a bad first test grade, I wouldn't just immediately drop the class. So 3 tests, by then you should have a good idea what your grade is. Most students at that point, say you have a B at that point, most students either get what they're at or they maybe go up 1 or down 1. So if you're at a B at that point, you probably are going to get an A, B, or C in the class. If you have an F at that point, you could still probably move up to a D, and if you did really well, maybe a C, but maybe at that point, if you have an F, you might want to drop the class and try to get another time. But you could stick in the class and get an F if you know you're going to do it again, and then try to get an A the next time, and the F won't count anymore. Okay, so after test 3, we have section 11.3, 11, and 4, right before the drop deadline. Then the week of Thanksgiving, the school does meet on Monday and Tuesday of that week. So in-person classes have to go those 2 days. We'll cover 11.5 on Monday and 11.6 on Tuesday. And then there's officially no school on Wednesday or Thursday for Thanksgiving week. And you never have to do anything on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday unless you want to. So if you could either do these two before, if you are going somewhere the whole week, you could do these before or after Thanksgiving because there's nothing due right after Thanksgiving. Or you could get it done before Thanksgiving and just have the whole week off if you want. So when we come back from Thanksgiving, then we do the 4 sections of chapter 12. Then the fourth and final regular test is Monday and Tuesday, December 4th and 5th. So 3 of the 4 tests land on Mondays and Tuesdays. One of them happens to land on a Wednesday and a Thursday. But that way, every day we're either doing a section or we're taking tests and reviewing. So then Wednesday, December 6th, we're going to review the first unit. Thursday, the 7th, we're going to review the second unit. Then Monday, the 11th, review the third unit. Tuesday, the 12th, review the fourth unit. These are when I'm going to release videos for those 4 reviews. But you're certainly welcome to work on the reviews before then, just on your own. And then you got your 2-day window for the final. The class officially ends on December 14th. So stick to this calendar as close as possible. That's your best bet to get the highest grade. If you're a little ahead, little behind, nothing wrong with that, but don't get too far behind. You really can't get too far ahead probably, but too far behind is definitely the one thing you want to avoid. Okay, so just briefly here real quick, if I open up an assignment, maybe I'll do a harder one too that's got more parts to it. If I open up here this compound interest, and you'll see this as you watch each of my videos that explain how to do the homework, but I just want to show you some features here real quick. When you're doing an assignment, the good thing is they have like 10 versions of every problem. So this is the first question of your homework. It comes from section 8.4, which is called compound interest. And it even tells you it's homework problem number 1 if you look in the ebook and go to where they have homework problems. But they'll have like 10 versions of this where they can change these numbers, and it makes the problem the same difficulty level, but just gives a different final answer by starting with a different number. So sometimes problems have just one answer, or some of them are just multiple choice. Other times you have to do like a part A and a part B. And if you get the answer wrong, I'll just get it wrong on purpose. And down here at the bottom it says check answer. And I got that wrong. And it tries to tell me what I should have been doing. So sometimes you do it wrong and then you see this. Oh yeah, wait a minute, I forgot about this little part of it. So this can help you get it right by seeing that. And then you're like, okay, so now I'll correct it, but then maybe you still get it wrong. Or maybe you get it right, but now maybe you still get it wrong. It lets you get a problem wrong like 3 times, and then when it says final check, then it finally counts it wrong, and it tells you what the right answer is. Sometimes you're just completely wrong like this. Maybe it's a minor detail. Maybe you put $14,965 and forgot the 38 cents. It's very easy to make a brain cramp mistake or have a slight typo in your calculator. So sometimes the student's like, oh yeah, now I know what I did wrong. Well, then you just, well, now it wants me to do part B, but let me just get this right. This will be 3,965 and 38 cents. So maybe I'll get this one right. See, good job. If you get it right, it gives you a green check. So then it takes me to the next problem automatically, but I can use these arrows up here and go back to the previous one. And then when it's wrong, it'll say like here, I got, at the top it says 0.5 out of 1 because I got half of this right. So the one that's wrong, you can click on it and it says you answered 13,000, but the right answer was this, 14,965. And then there's at the bottom, there's help me solve this, view an example, get more help, and that's where you can ask my instructor. So if you click that, it sends me an email, and then I can see exactly the problem you're working on. The one that had 11,000 and 8%. But if I hit similar question, now I get another one. Now they changed the 11,000 to 4,000. They changed the 8% to 6%. It's the same question, it just has different starting numbers. So the difficulty level's the same, but the answer is going to be different. So now that I did one, I don't know what this answer is going to be. This is what's great about the computer homework. Back in the day when we used to do homework in a textbook, after you did number one and found out what the answer was, there was no point in doing the problem anymore. You already knew what the answer was. But here it's a different experience every time you do it. And maybe you got a question right because you guessed and you didn't really feel fully that you understood it. Now you can just try another. Whether you get it right or wrong, you can try another as much as you want. Now, yeah, of course, it would help if we all had an infinite amount of time to do these kind of things. But if you want to get a good grade, that's what it takes sometimes. Keep doing the problems until you get the grade as high as possible. In homework, you can keep working on them over and over and over again until you get your grade as high as you want until the deadline. Tests, you only get one chance to get things right. So that's why you really need to use the homework to practice. The homework's your best way to practice, get good at this so that you can get a good grade on the test. If you don't finish all the homework, if you don't practice and you just jump right into a test, you're probably going to get a bad grade. Even if you're watching the videos and thinking, oh, this looks kind of easy, I think I can do this. So math is a subject you got to sit down and do it yourself. Just watching somebody else do it isn't going to make you great at it. It's going to help, but it's not going to make you an expert at it. You can also pull this open here. I closed it, but if you open this, it shows you the questions, so you can jump around. And maybe I want to do number 7 next. You don't have to do them in order. And if you do get one right or wrong and then do it again and get a worse grade, the default is it saves your best score. But you could also save this attempt and punish yourself. And if I do that, let me just show you, then I lose my half of a credit of a point. So if you really want to quiz yourself, you can get rid of the credit you've already earned. But if you just keep the default save best score, then you don't lose points on the pass. So you could do one that you already got right, and then if you get it wrong the second time, you don't have to lose your points if you don't want to. And then you can just jump around. So this one just wants one answer here. And at any point in the homework, you can just save, and it picks up where you left off the next time. So currently I have 0 points, and I did that on purpose because I didn't teach you how to do this problem yet, but I can go back and do this as long as it's before the deadline, and this one's not due till November 14th. So the assignments tab on the side, that's really the only tab you need. The assignments tab, this is all you have to do. Just what's in here is all you have to do by the end of the semester. And each one by its own deadline. You could also use the e-text content. So you click that and you click a chapter like chapter 8. Whoops, went too far. Let me go to chapter 8, click that, and then pick a section. Let's do the one I was in, 8.4. So for every chapter and every section, there's a video presentation in addition to the videos I make. The author made videos too, if you ever want to watch those. Trying to see how do you just open up the book itself? Usually there's a link for ebook. Is there another one here? Okay, that's weird. Okay. Oh, here it is. Access your Pearson ebooks by chapter. So read your complete. Oh, there it is. Okay. Read your complete e-text. It's up near the top here. Read your complete Pearson e-text. Or here, view the e-text. Okay, there it is. So you just do that before you click a chapter, apparently. So you do that, and now the ebook is opening up. And then in here, I can pick my chapter. So this one took me to chapter 3, but I can click this little table of contents here. And then I can scroll down to chapter 8 if I want. 8.4. See, it jumps you right to 8.4 now. And then I can close this if I want to see it bigger. There's compound interest. So I'll be teaching you everything you need to know in the videos, but you can certainly skim through the textbook if you want to. Before we made videos in online classes back, like before the pandemic, students would just read the textbook and teach themselves how to do the class. And then in the pandemic times, we had to make videos, and now we do it after as well. But yeah, definitely you can scroll through here and look for things. They have nice little helpful hints on the side, or anything that's in a colorful box is important information. I noticed there was even like a calculator tip over here. Right here, calculator tip. So these are all good things if you have the time to skim through all this. Good news is you don't have to, but the ebook is there. So assignments and the ebook, those are probably the two most common tabs you're going to use. There's also this. See, this is why we make these required for students. There's a video and a resource library. There's so much stuff here, the average person would never have enough time to do this. But for any chapter in any section, you can watch videos, as I mentioned. There's animations. They have PowerPoint slides. There's even test prep videos. There's just a ton of resources here and nobody's ever going to have time for. But I literally get students, they're very up to date on their homework. They keep pace every day that when I send a new video out. Then they get to that weekend before the test, so they want stuff to study. And they maybe do the review is a good idea. But there's a few students, they like did all that, they want more. That's what this is all for. So you can just go to town with this as you want. But all of this other stuff is totally optional. If you just do the assignments and look at the ebook every so often, that's all you have to do in MyMathLab. Everything else is just extra help. But that's what's great about these online programs. If you just buy a textbook, that's all you have to work with. Okay, so I think you now have a good understanding of how the class works. We went over the syllabus, we went over the calendar, and I showed you the ebook and how MyMathLab works and how to even register for it. So hopefully you watched this introductory video first, and then next you should watch the video that covers section 1.1 and 1.2. And this video doesn't have a magic word of the day, but the 1.1 and 1.2 video does. So if you use the Monday, the first day of the semester, to watch the introductory video and read the syllabus and learn how the class works, then on Tuesday you should watch the video for 1.1 and 1.2 and try those problems. And then on Wednesday, I'll send out the video for the other two that you're supposed to work on Wednesday and Thursday. But again, if you're a little ahead or a little behind, that's fine. Just make sure you're not too far behind when test times come. So I was able to do this video in just under an hour, but I think that's it. If you ever have questions, definitely email me. I don't mind answering questions. I never get mad at people for asking questions. Sometimes I say something in a video and I literally get a question for it. Exactly what I said. So either they didn't watch the video or they may have been watching and just forgot or didn't hear that part. That can happen to anybody. So yeah, I'd never get mad for asking questions even if I know I mentioned it already. It's better to ask than to not know. So good luck this semester, and you'll be seeing me in a lot of videos throughout the semester. And then don't be shy about asking questions or reaching out for help or going to the free tutoring.